this shit is going to be messy. It hadn't occurred to me before, but getting well and reintegrating into the world after being sick for 7 years is gonna be messy. And a lot of it's kind of stressful, and the stress is not gonna get me anywhere. The stress is not good for my health. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to say, fuck it.
Here I am, I'm a man on the scene. I can give you what you want, but you got to go home with me. I forgot some good old love, and then I got some in store. When I get through throwing it on you, you got to come back for more. Boys and things will come by the dozen, but that ain't nothing but drugstore loving. Pretty little thing, let me light your count, cause mama, I'm sure hard to hell and I yes around.
I've had a super long day, but I'm going to stick on track of my videos because I came here to win. So what is chaotic good, you might ask? What does that mean? At some point last year I became familiar with this concept of alignment charts. I thought they were an Eastern philosophy thing, but apparently they're actually more to do with gaming culture, so actually I really can't tell you what's up with that because I'm very confused now. But basically the idea is that, this is hilarious, looks like I just murdered someone. This is a chart of characteristics. So it goes good, neutral, bad, lawful, neutral, chaotic. And then you place characters or whatever, people, on that map. The thing I think that really blew my mind about this whole idea was that I feel like I was under the impression for some time that lawful and good were the same thing. Lawful to me is like the idea of like the good girl, you know? I guess being conventional and following rules and being obedient and that kind of stuff. I feel like lawful good is what I've been aiming for most of my life. When I was in school and when I was a teenager, I think lawful good was kind of what I was going for. I'm gonna say good just because that's what I aspire to be. I don't want to be an evil murderer type person. So we're gonna say good in the loosest term of the word. When I was a kid, I wanted to be, I think I was neutral good. As a teenager, I think I was lawful good. Even though I, you know, was political or whatever, I was more or less I was kind of going along with the plan, you know? I'm reading this book at the moment called The Female Persuasion by Meg Wolitzer. There's this line in it where the main character describes her friend group. In high school, Greer had sometimes sat at Pyland on weekends with 2 or 3 friends, all of them on the obedient good girl track, but with a slightly offbeat aesthetic, as if to compensate. And I just felt like that was a big old call out. At this moment in my life, I'm going for chaotic good. Last time I was well, I was 13. So in many ways, I kind of feel like one of those movies where like a child wakes up in an adult's body.
She only made one wish.
I hate being 13. I just want to be grown up.
And she woke up 17 years later.
It's beginning to occur to me that like if I thought illness felt chaotic and messy, health is going to be 10 times messier. It's just more opportunity to screw up when you're well. If you have more energy and you're leaving the house, you're just going to lose more stuff because, you know, you're using it and you're going to piss more people off because you're seeing them more, and it's kind of a lot to handle. I don't know, I think when I was very sick and I wasn't doing much, like I wasn't very interesting, and that was kind of sad. That's not that I wasn't interesting, but like there wasn't a whole lot going on, but at the same time I wasn't actually screwing up at all. Whereas now I'm having to really like come to terms with my own imperfection, which is a hard pill to swallow. But yeah, there is this thing, I think, which for want of a better word I'm going to refer to as like the good girl trip. I've been watching too much 70s movies. I was very much on it, like very much. Okay, so you're 2 and 3 or something, and you're kind of smart and you're kind of cute, you know, because you're 3, and people are all like, you're so smart and you're so whatever, and you're like cool, and you really like school and that's all great. Maybe you have a talent, maybe you're good at sports, maybe you can dance a bit, whatever. And then like you grow up and you're like a teenager and everything is really messy. All your friends are freaking out and having eating disorders, and you realize that life is like a super messy thing, and then you're like, oh, I'll just keep doing this. Everyone seems to be happy if I do this. I think as well as a certain amount of like patriarchal, like there's this idea that like we can be the exception to things. Like, oh, like sexism won't affect me if I just do what they want me to do. I'm like, no shade, because I get it. Like, praise is good. This looks really like a primary school thing. I'm having a lot of fun right now. I was talking to my friend the other day, who is really academically high achieving, and they go to therapy, and their therapist said that they think obsessively wanting to achieve good grades is a lot like an eating disorder. In fact, there are whole schools and clinics that actually think of them as the same thing, essentially, or a similar thing, that are beginning to study them together. And the reason is it's this thing of like not having control and determining your self-worth from a number, and wanting to control a number because you're anxious about all the things you can't control. So you find this number that you can control, and then you get really emotionally attached to your control of that area. And is anyone feeling really attacked right now? Because I felt that. Not that I was ever really obsessed with grades specifically. Yeah, so chaotic good. Chaotic good is what I'm going for from now on. So like some examples. The other week I was visiting someone who was super sick. I told her I'd go over and help her, go through her medical documents, and explain all the science in them and stuff. And then I totally forgot about it because I've been a mess the last couple of weeks. And I got a call in the morning like, are you coming over? And I was like, oh shit, I am. Fuck. And I totally forgot about it. But then I went over, I did go over, but I just kind of came over in a real mess, like hair unwashed. I did do it though, I did explain all the science. So good, but chaotic. And then today I had a date, like a first date. I was an hour and 10 minutes late. I'm never that late. Sometimes I'm like 5 minutes late, but I'm not a late person. I'm really not. I was late for the train station, and then I got on the wrong train, and then I ended up in the wrong place, and then I had to get a bus and then a taxi, and I ended up like an hour and 10 minutes late for the date. And then when on the date, I walked all the way over a host head, even though I am super ill and should not have done that. And I'm right now kind of delirious, but tomorrow I will be not moving. But at the same time, we had a really nice day together, and we found a hidden cove, and I smooched in a sea cave thing. So all in all, a chaotic but a good day. My doctors are always saying to me, and people in general are always saying, that one of the things about ME and having a chronic illness and recovering is that it takes so much nerve. I'm not used to being a functioning person who is held to high standards, who people depend on for things, who has to take care of stuff, and in a lot of ways I'm still not really physically up to it. So I'm in this weird place of like, I keep failing. Like I keep failing to keep my flat clean, I keep failing to go to the classes or to do the things or to keep the appointments that I want to make, because 50% of the time I'm still not quite well enough. And a lot of it's kind of stressful, and the stress is not going to get me anywhere. The stress is not good for my health. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, fuck it. This shit is going to be messy. It hadn't occurred to me before, but getting well and reintegrating into the world after being sick for 7 years is gonna be messy. Oh, I have bad things have happened in my fridge while I wasn't paying attention. But it's also been great, and I've also done loads of things I didn't think I'd ever be able to do. I'm functioning quite well, I think, at the same time. So I think it is about doing my best and accepting that I am chaotic. I am chaotic good right now. I always like model my ideal personality off of like Simone de Beauvoir. When I'm feeling a little bit less classy, Carrie Bradshaw. But right now I'm kind of like going for like one of the cast members from Broad City.
Okay, I can't make heads or tails of this. What is this for?
Oh, I got that for biking on the sidewalk, but because I hadn't paid my last ticket for biking on the sidewalk...
Okay, I gotta tell you, this is all a mess. None of this is necessary or helpful.
Or something like that, like artful mess. I don't know what's happening. I'm going with it, I'm going with the flow.
Action speaks louder than word, and I'm a man with a great experience. I know you got you another man, but I can love you better than him. Take my hand, don't be afraid, I wanna prove every word I say. I'm advertising love for free, so won't you place your ad with me? Boys will come a dime out for loving, but that ain't nothing but 10 cents.
Aww.
But I was gonna get this tattooed on myself. And then Joy is Rachel Taylor's middle name.
Okay.
So she was gonna get Choose Javerna tattooed on herself.
Is that your middle name?
Yeah.
Oh, weird middle name.
I know.
Well, that's
Can I just go, Ro?
Yeah, perfect.